but as crew chief Adam Stevens told me earlier today, the margin for these cars today between being very good and out of control is razor thin. They're going to have to keep up with that race car and the track all day long if they expect to get their second consecutive Cup Series win here at Bristol.
Now, here's our crew chief on driver comfort. Here's Larry McReynolds.
You know, Mike, as fast as drivers will run around this half-mile high-bank track, the safety features of their cockpit is so important. But also considering this race is 500 laps, the driver's comfort is very important as well. Look at Sir Gyro Cam from yesterday in car. Driver running around this track with 24+ degrees of banking. Look at what they're experiencing. Look at what their body is going through. Now, let's go to our Toyota Camry cutaway car, and we'll look at some of these items. Drivers will adjust to try to stay as comfortable as possible around this half-mile track. Starts with a headrest. They will add foam to the right side where the driver's head has something to lay against in those corners. Let's go down to the knee knocker between the driver's knees. Foam added to the left side, while in the corner his knee doesn't flop over to the right when he's going through those corners. So why at Bristol? In the turns with the car fully loaded, the driver experiences 3 G's of force vertically and laterally to the right. These are the same G forces of NASCAR Artemis 2 experienced during the launch. But guys, think about this. Twice every 15 seconds, 16 seconds, 3 G's roughly 8 times per minute.
I can close my eyes and think about it. I can feel it, Larry. This place wears you out, and that headrest is so important. You take that out, I don't know. I think your head would be over there against the side glass on the other side, Kevin.
Busch Light giving you the chance to win $1,000 today. Follow at Busch Beer on social and enter using hashtag Busch All for One, hashtag sweepstakes during every lap that ends in a 1 for your chance to win. That's 50 chances, fellas. So many laps ended in a 1.
Tell you what, a nice cold one of those would be pretty good this afternoon.
Sure.
Ready? Look, the fireworks.
Mostly blue skies here. The track temp is
I see
112.
fireworks.
Yeah. Yesterday at the start of practice, it was 115. By the end of qualifying, under cloudy conditions, it was down to 99 degrees. So the hottest it's been here in several years in the spring race.
And
Ready.
you see that traction compound on the inside of the racetrack where the inside rows and left side tires are in. Very important. They're going to be on that. It's ultra sticky, Kevin.
Ready.
Yeah, and you see your leader right there, Ryan Blaney chose the outside lane. Preferred lane on the restarts. Here we
Green
go.
flag is out. Let's go racing now.
Bristol, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Chastain way up top on the very first lap. It's going to get him at least a second.
That was a great move by Chastain.
Oh, see Kyle Larson looked like he bounced off the wall right there down the front straightaway. He didn't. It was close.
Larson battling Riley Herbst, who has his best ever Cup start. He was only the 3rd driver to go out to qualify. We thought early drivers to go would be at a disadvantage, but that's when the track was warmest, and he was rewarded with a great lap.
Okay, this is where you see them now that they've locked on. You're looking at Bell right there, get in line there, and he followed suit. You get stuck out, see Ty Gibbs on the outside, you have to be careful. He slid up, and he didn't want to be there. You can lose a lot of spots quick.
Gibbs started 5th. He's fallen out of the top 10 in that quickly. 4 laps.
Cars lose.
Yeah, no, we've seen so many changes. Well, we expect a lot of changes to these cars as these guys went from practice. There was a lot of cars that were all over the place. So, you know, a lot of times you fire off right here and the car doesn't handle very well. Andy's Ty Gibbs in a spot right here he doesn't want to be in that second lane. So, not a fun situation to start the race here for the 54.
Suarez to the inside, and Gibbs forces his way in line in front of Zane Smith with Noah Gragson trying to give him a bumper tap. Gragson couldn't get down. Smith may get that spot. That's the first side-by-side battle.
And he just couldn't waste any more time. He had to force the issue to get down. It's one thing to play nice, but sometimes you just got to put it into it and take a chance.
No rubber up in that second groove, not yet. But that will all change as this race unfolds.
And it's not going to take long for that top to rubber in. Once this traction compound starts to, you know, wear off a little bit, the speeds come down. You'll see guys jump up the racetrack. We've had the O'Reilly race yesterday where the cars moved up the racetrack, but it's going to take some time to get this bottom lane worn down.
Michael McDowell, 23rd, he drops in line in front of Ricky Stenhouse. And there's Cole Custer trying to come from the back. From 30th spot, he's picked up 1 there against Kyle Busch.
Yeah, and right now, these guys at the back of the pack, they want to do everything they can to move forward, but it's really hard to move forward when you have that traction compound on the bottom of the racetrack because everybody's so hooked up, and the only way to really move them out of the way is to knock them out of the way.
Remember, William Byron had to go to the rear because they changed the steering rack this morning. He has made almost no forward progress. It is so difficult to pass here in the early going when it's a one-groove racetrack.
Well, and the other thing is everybody's tires are new, and so we got to get some wear on the tires to start to showcase some of the handling differences between the cars. So it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take 25, 30 laps for it to really show up.
Yeah, and it's showing up fast for these leaders. That Ryan Blaney's putting really fast laps down and catching the tail end of the pack quick.
Well, he is literally a straightaway behind the last place car. As we're on board with William Byron, who's running in 34th spot, he's going to have to get going because he's going to be the guy that sees that leader come up pretty quick with where he started. But usually what happens in that situation, those guys start to get desperate at the back of the pack. And they aren't going to give up the bottom, so Blaney's going to have to make a decision to either use the front bumper or go somewhere else.
So as everybody settles in with the traction compound down in the lowest 4 feet of the racetrack, that's where everybody's running, and this track just becomes the world's fastest conveyor belt.
But this is exactly by design, and watch me, folks, and trust me. As soon as Ryan Blaney catches that pack, you're forced to go somewhere else, and that's where it gets tricky. He has to stay going because that second place car will catch him in a hurry.
And really, it's a game of, as we're on board with Chase Briscoe right here, our Toyota Racing Gyro Cam, really gives you a great sense of what the drivers are going through as you go down into the banking. The driver loads up in the seat right there with those 3 Gs like Larry was talking about, and really flattens out on the entries and the exit of the corner. So things happen fast here at Bristol.
And thanks to the fellows at BSI that do all of our onboard camera installs and development. That's the best gyro cam I've seen.
Well, yeah, the timing of it's actually right, and it really gives you a good indication of when the banking is changing and all the things that are happening.
It's the perfect racetrack to showcase that too. And listen to the throttle off. Like when he's going, you come off the gas and it's you got to get it in a rhythm, Kevin. That's what I've always tried to sell about this place. And if you don't, it can become chaotic. And you don't breathe, and you have to slow this racetrack down, and it's very tricky to do.
Well, and it becomes a game of time, right? Like you just don't want to give up time. As you see Blaney approaching the back of the field right here. It's all about how fast can I make a pass? How much, if I make a mistake, I only want to give up a tenth, not half a second. So it's all a game of time to give up as little ground as possible.
Took him 20 laps. When you want